take off a few pounds.
Margo Martindale, it is so great to have you back with us. 2 years ago in early June, we were talking, and at that stage, it was kind of a dream to get on that Emmy nominations list, and even bigger dream to actually walk up on stage and win, but it did happen for you. Tell us about that whole experience.
Well, it was, not even a dream come true because I had never imagined it. But it was just a fabulous, fantastic ride from the beginning till the end, and just couldn't have been more fun and more exciting. And wow, to win that, it was, one of those kind of parts don't come along very often in one's lifetime. I'm so happy to have done it.
That night, Timothy was nominated, Walton was nominated. You're all sitting together. What's that? What was said before and after?
Well, after, they take you out of there, so you don't really sit with anybody. I mean, I was out of there to almost the end. You come back in, but afterwards, we talk. But before, it was really funny. I had leaned over to Timothy first, and I said, Tim, if I don't expect to win. I'm just saying that, but I see that if I did win, would you help me up on the stage because there's no rail? He said, oh no, I mean I'd do it over there at the side, but I'm not going to hop up. It would embarrass me. And then I leaned over to my husband and said, Bill, would you, if I know that I don't expect to win, but if I did, would you help me? And he said, oh, I couldn't do that. So of course I get up and fall on the stairs, and my white knight was Ashton Kutcher. Kutcher.
Well, it was very exciting to watch. I think we were all pulling for you as much as you were.
Oh, how sweet is that? Well, it was,
Oh.
it's wonderful to have all this come at this stage of my life. It really is.
The following year, I'm wondering your reaction when your TV son, Jeremy Davies, wins an Emmy, also for Justified.
Well, I tried to call him. I had different Jeremys in my phone, and I couldn't find to even call to tell him congratulations. That's pretty incredible. He's a fabulous actor. Just
Yeah, he seemed as shocked as anybody, and I mentioned that to Timothy earlier this week. He said, oh, that's his usual expression.
That's pretty funny.
Now, this past season, you had a really great role on The Americans, another FX show. You're just taking over that network, I think. You played the KGB handler, Claudia, and nice arc for you over the entire season. What was it like being on that show?
Well, it was number one, the Joel Fields and Joe Weisberg are the nicest men in the world, and they're just so they're just lovely people and great writers. But the actors on there, there's not an ego inside. It's a fabulous, wonderful, wonderful group of people. And it was not an easy job because we shoot here in New York, and it was freezing cold, and I was always in the rain and always in the cold and always in the middle of the night. So but it was an interesting role for me because I think that I exercised a different part of my brain and a different part of my physical person because it was formal. I think that's why it was very formal. It was very. I think it's been great for me to do just for my own self.
And you had a lot of scenes with Matthew Rhys and Kerry Russell. What was it like, particularly working with them?
Well, heaven, heaven. They're both delightful, wonderful, easygoing people, and we have a lot of words to say on that show. So it was, it's a lot of talking. It was, and Matthew's, I'm coming from a Texas accent, which is another country, and he's coming from a Welsh accent, which is another country. So it was, everybody's acting outside of their own comfort zone, which was, I think, great for everybody. I think it was really good. I loved them both very much.
I hope you don't have nightmares of Kerry coming after you after that scene where she beats your character to a pulp.
Oh, do you really think she could actually do that? I had to act. I mean, because I could have taken her in a second. I only outweigh her about I'm
It was
probably
brutal to watch as a viewer,
100 pounds.
though.
It was brutal to watch. It was easy to do because somebody else did it. I I sucked my head in the water and I fell backwards, and basically the other woman did all the other stuff. It
Oh,
was
okay, I got you.
terrific. Yeah,
You had to act the emotional aftermath of it,
I
though.
did. I did have to act the emotional aftermath. Uh, it was, yeah. I thought it came. I thought it was really looked great. I mean, it really looked great on. And Carrie does everything of her own, just about. She's like a stunt woman.
The You're on the drama guest actress ballot this summer for the Emmy Awards, and they do that a little bit differently. You have to, your network and your producers and so forth had to go ahead and submit an episode in advance so that they could put the description on the Emmy ballot. And they chose the finale, which you had a lot more to do in the finale. That's where you find out you're reassigned. That's where you pretend to be the neighbor that can't get in the door, and you kill the guy. So, I mean, what was it that you liked about the finale?
I well, yeah, I enjoyed getting to go because I was undercover already as Granny. But really, I was never with anybody who I had to be undercover with as Granny. So going as those other two characters was really fun because I got to be two other people, which was I mean, I enjoyed that. I enjoyed being that older woman, Aunt Lori, the one that kills the guy, which I really got a great satisfaction out of, and just getting to pretend. That's really what it was. Getting to pretend to be those, and that other part, the one where I played Clark's mother, is really can have some really good comedy in it, I think.
Yeah, that was a funny scene, very interesting scene.
So,
I
so
don't know where they're going to take that wedding thing for next year.
I don't know what's going to happen, but pretty funny.
Now, your character is reassigned back to Russia. Was that due to your availability, or something they always wanted to do from a plot standpoint?
I don't know, Chris. I think probably it was something that they had to put in there just to because we didn't know what to expect from the next season. To and it was all a timing issue, really, quite honestly.
Do you feel like you'll be back, or do you know yet?
I feel like I will, yeah,
Okay.
and I
Now,
don't know yet. And I don't know yet.
well, one of the reasons is the Millers you've got coming up as a new comedy series. Your husband's played by Beau Bridges, correct?
Right.
Will Arnett's your son. We talked to Will a couple of weeks ago, and he was really excited about working with you and Beau.
He's so sweet. He really is. It's a great. You know what? It's really fun for me because I've had people say to me, "I had no idea you were funny." I thought, really? I mean, that's where I started. So I just got off to killing people a little later in my life. But it's really fun because it's very much like the stage where I come from. So I, we had a blast. We really did.
You had another comedy this past year. You played Jake Johnson's mother on New Girl. What was that experience like?
Insane. Those people work harder than anybody I know. 14-hour days for a 22-minute show, and they are always in a good. They're always in good spirits. They never complain. There was a fabulous group of actors. I felt slightly intimidated at first because Jake Gaston, who directed that episode and is, I think, the showrunner and producer, he called me. I'd done a movie for him, Walk Hard, the Cox story, and he called me and asked me if I would come out there, and I said, "Oh, okay." It was kind of hard because it was one episode I was off of The Americans, and when came to Los Angeles, and then he said, "Oh, by the way, I forgot to ask, do you do a Chicago accent?" I said, "If you told me that, I wouldn't have come." So I crammed with Zoe a Chicago accent in, and I guess did it to some degree, and it was ridiculously fun, but hard. I mean, they work long hours, and they do. I think they could have put together from one episode maybe 6 or 7.
Yeah, Jake and Max we've interviewed the last 2 years, and they both talked about for it to be a comedy series, which a lot of them shoot fairly quickly. They do have long days.
Long days, right? Really long.
Big difference between a filmed one camera comedy series and a multi-camera like you're about to do with the Millers.
I mean, the Millers we did so quickly. Jim Burrows believes in quick and, work. When you're there, you work, but there's not a lot of playtime, which is great. I love that. And we were out of there. We were out of there for doing a pilot. We did it, I think, mostly in 4 days. Really.
James Burrows is just a legend in TV comedy.
And I get it. I get it why he is after working with him. Yeah.
That's why almost every pilot comes to him that's a comedy series.
I guess that's why he's a really nice man. But he doesn't. I don't think he watches the monitor. I think he just watches the show. So he also listens really hard to the rhythms of things. He does it in a whole different way. Pretty genius, I think he is. I really do.
That's that theater background with his father being such a legendary theater director.
I believe that's where it comes from. Absolutely.
Now, Jake was on with us yesterday, and he had a high compliment for you. Well, he had several, but one of them, he said the other guys on the show, when they're off scene, when they're behind the camera, they're just cutting up and trying to make each other laugh. He said, but you in the eulogy scene, when he was up there, were still in character and really giving him the emotion that he needed, and he just really appreciated that.
Oh, how sweet. That's so sweet to hear. Well, if you don't have a partner to act with, how can you act? So I was there for him because I was playing his mother, and it was a very touching scene, and I wanted him to have all the advantages to show all of that part of him because he's such a wonderful actor. So I'm glad that he had noticed.
Well, he's got a really good shot of getting in for an Emmy nomination as well.
Oh, isn't that wonderful? He should. He looks like an old-fashioned leading man movie star to me.
Mm-hmm. And he's got a lot of movies coming up too. I think he's really about to take off even more.
Oh, well, he's great. And I loved it. I loved his personality.
Now, speaking of the Emmy ballot, it was kind of interesting to us when that came out a couple of weeks ago that you are on the ballot for the Americans on the drama side, but not for New Girl on the comedy side. What was the reasoning behind not submitting for that episode?
Truth is, it would have been up to me to do that because I think the show doesn't do that. FX does it for you. And Chris, I thought I was good. Did I think I was Emmy worthy in that? I couldn't have. I don't know that I thought I was Emmy worthy. So it was up to me, so I didn't.
Well, some people just don't submit for some things. Also from the same show, Jamie Lee Curtis, who did a great job as Zoe's mother, she didn't submit either. So it's if it is up to you, it's just a matter of your being your decision or not.
I'm very happy that I after the fact, a lot of people have talked to me about that show and really liked it. Liked me on it, which is very sweet. But like I say, if I'd done a better Chicago accent, maybe I would
have. Now, I want to go back to your Emmy win for just a moment. I forgot to ask you something earlier. From the point that whole season really aired, and then people were talking about your character, that whole winter and spring leading up to the ballots coming out, and then all that happened in the summer, and then the award. What is your life like from that stage before and after in terms of your career?
Well, before Justified,
Hmm.
I've had a really great career. I've worked mostly all the time. I I've always had I've always had ability to to do things. It was just that particular part combined all this insanity I have that really and the writing of that part was really perfect for me. So it was, to get to be a character actor and get to play a leading role really is what it was, and it's that's hard to find, and I think it changed my profile, m- made me a little more. Well, let's just say I've gotten more jobs since then.
More scripts than ever coming your way, more
And
variety to choose from.
yeah, and more variety, which is true. And people actually see that I can do more things. It's been interesting. I actually say no to things now. Isn't that amazing?
That's awesome. That's to be able to choose is wonderful.
It really is. It's been great, and that was a gift from FX to me, and Graham Yost and John Landgraf. So sweet.
Well, speaking of choosing, you are in one of the high-profile movies of the year coming out later this year, August Osage County, with Meryl Streep and Julia Roberts and Chris Cooper and Sam Shepard, and it's an all-star cast. And just tell us about working on that.
Well, I'd seen the play in New York twice, and I was blown away by the play, blown away by that play, uh, and and people had said, "Oh, you're so right for that part. I'd love to see you do that part." Rondi Reed did, who was just brilliant, and Meryl's sister. I mean, the leading mother's the lead Violet's sister, and I said, well, I don't see that I would ever need to do that on stage because she did it so perfectly, and I really mean that. And so I did say, but if there's a movie of that, I really want to do the movie. So I told my agent that. I said, now you just got to keep your ears open. If this comes to a movie, I want to play that part. Now, I went in, auditioned twice, and got it. So that was, I mean, it was hard to get. Let me just say, it was hard to get, and it was. I had done 3 movies with Meryl before. This is our 4th one, and it was fabulous to be with her. Fabulous, but we've seen the movie, and every single person in it is wonderful. It's I mean, it's a beautiful movie. It's beautifully written. Tracy Letts wrote the movie as well. I mean, he wrote the play, and then wrote the movie screenplay, and it's a great version from play to film, which sometimes doesn't work. I think this really does work. It's gloriously beautiful too. Uh,
Is it very similar to the play?
It's very similar to the play, very similar to the play, but the poetry of the landscape plays such a part in it that you don't get to see in the play, which is just gorgeously shot by Adriano Goldman. It's just beautiful.
Now that you've worked with Meryl again, what the most nominated person ever in Oscar history, and one of the only a handful to win 3 Oscars in acting. What is it about? What does she do that other people can't do?
Well, she can do anything. Number one, and she is so. I don't know what she does. She's a genius. That's all. She really is. I mean, she's so there. She's so prepared. She's beyond prepared. She's she inhabits a new person, I think, every time she comes to the screen, and this one is woo, incredible.
And playing her sister was what?
Just fabulous. And we spent most of our time together when we weren't, you know, well, she worked a lot more than me, and I know that she was. I know that it was took a lot out of her. It's an enormously incredibly challenging part, boy, but she did it.
Well, you just might be in that Oscar mix. We might be talking to you around Christmas time.
Oh, Chris, please.
We were your good luck charm last 2 years ago.
Say just let's just yeah, that's a good thing to think.
Now, if my information is correct, you were invited to join the Motion Picture Academy last summer. Is that correct?
Yeah, I was.
What was it like being a voter for the first time this time around?
It was exciting, and I'd heard other people voting and other people getting screeners and all. It was great to have a voice in all of that. Really, really great. It's honestly it's a huge responsibility, which I didn't realize. But yeah, you really need to put some time in.
The screeners alone probably just flood your home now, right?
Flood.
Tell me, I've asked this question to several Academy voters over the last couple of years, and I'm wondering your take on it. You don't have to give specific names or anything, but what do you look for when you're either nominating or voting for final winners as an actor who takes the job seriously? What strikes your fancy? What do you want to put your vote down next to?
Now I like acting that doesn't look like acting. And a lot of times I think that people overlook. I don't mean people playing themselves. I mean people that are able to become someone else without looking like you're acting. That's what I like. And I think sometimes people overlook that because they think you're not acting. It's an interesting thing. But it's what I like, and I like theatrical act. I like some theatrical things too. I love comedy, and I love and I'm in awe of people who can do accents. I'm really in awe of that. Now, I mean, if they do them well.
Well, you do them well. You do everything well, it seems like, and you're just all over the place now. And we are pulling for you on the ballot there for nominations on the Americans. Hope you get in, and really appreciate your time. Have a great summer.
Thank you so much. It's very sweet of you. I appreciate it.